Imagine value flowing like water through a web of connections. These programmable assets, tokens, represent everything from virtual goods to voting rights, the flow breathing life into digital economies built on immutable blockchains. Tokens are the lifeblood of this new digital landscape. They ensure secure and transparent transactions across a vast array of applications. Smart contracts acting as self-executing agreements govern their every move, their issuance, transfer, and use. This decentralized framework fosters trust, enabling the design of novel economic interactions. But building robust digital economies requires more than just code. It demands an engineer's mindset and a commitment to ethical practices. Token engineering provides a structured, interdisciplinary approach to this challenge. It's a collaborative process involving stakeholders in co-design, rigorous research, validation, and optimization to create sustainable tokenized systems. The goal is not short-term gain, but the development of resilient economic networks that generate genuine value and foster coordinated activity. We will examine the token design process, analyze network effects and system dynamics, and delve into concepts like bargaining and power laws. We'll also consider the ethical dimensions, legal frameworks, and economic design principles that underpin these systems. By understanding these elements, we can design digital economies that promote sustainable growth, equitable participation, and lasting value. To recap, the previous tutorial emphasized that tokens are more than just digital assets. They are the building blocks of decentralized economies. Encoded in smart contracts as distributed algorithms, they govern the flow of value across our network of relations. To bring this vision to life, we need analytical tools to help shape these systems. This is where game theory, control theory, and mechanism design become essential. Game theory allows us to analyze strategic decision-making in complex environments. It helps us predict how actors within a tokenized system will behave, anticipate conflicts, and design mechanisms to encourage cooperation. Control theory, borrowed from engineering, provides a framework for understanding the dynamics of token flow, enabling us to design systems that are adaptive and self-regulating. Mechanism design, rooted in economics, equips us with the tools to craft the rules and incentives that guide behavior, ensuring fairness, efficiency, and truthfulness. Consider the bonding curve mechanism, where the token's price automatically adjusts based on supply or demand, creating a self-balancing ecosystem. Or conviction voting, where participants' influence grows with their conviction, fostering long-term commitment. These examples demonstrate the usefulness of these analytical tools to shape social interactions toward desired outcomes. By wielding these tools, we can engineer tokenized systems that transcend the limitations of traditional organizations. The aim is to foster cooperation, promote transparency, and reward pro-social behavior, creating a more equitable and sustainable digital future. This is not just theory, it's a call to action to build a better world. Designing a successful token is like weaving a tapestry, where technology, economics, and social dynamics intertwine. But before we begin, we must acknowledge the human element. People's livelihoods are at stake, so ethical considerations must be woven into every design decision. We must strive to create systems that generate value without causing harm. Our journey begins with understanding the purpose of our tokenized system. What problems are we trying to solve? What needs are we meeting? Tools like the Platform Design Toolkit, Token Design Tool, Business Model Canvases, and Wardley Maps can illuminate the path, helping us create a shared understanding of our ecosystem's goals. The Platform Design Toolkit, for instance, helps us identify the key players, the stakeholders, their roles, and their desires. It prompts us to consider how power is distributed and whether decentralized governance is feasible. This discovery phase is crucial. It allows the community to define the behaviors we want to encourage, laying the foundation for an effective token design. With clear goals, we move to the design phase. Here we leverage game theory, control theory, and mechanism design to sketch the rules of our system, the incentive structures, market mechanisms, and voting protocols. These sketches take on a concrete form, translated into mathematical relationships that capture the system's dynamics. These models are then transformed into executable simulations using tools like CAD/CAD. Now comes the exciting part. Simulating our token economy. By running simulations, we gain valuable insights into how our system might behave under different conditions. We can explore various scenarios, stress test our assumptions, and identify potential vulnerabilities. It is important to remember that no design is perfect. Real-world dynamics are messy and unpredictable. This is why adaptability and self-regulation are paramount. By incorporating responsive mechanisms and aligning incentives, we can create systems that evolve and thrive in the face of unforeseen challenges. Like a living organism, a token economy needs to adapt and evolve. This is where governance comes in, providing mechanisms for collective decision making and ensuring the system remains resilient, decentralized, and responsive to its community. Governance is a delicate dance between predictability and flexibility, between encoded rules and evolving desires. Decentralized decision making is the cornerstone of a healthy token economy. It empowers token holders to actively shape the system's evolution, fostering ownership and shared responsibility. This can be achieved through a spectrum of approaches, from on-chain mechanisms encoded in smart contracts to off-chain institutions that facilitate human deliberation. On-chain governance leverages the transparency and immutability of the blockchain. Social choice mechanisms such as voting can be implemented directly into the system's code, allowing token holders to express their preferences. These systems offer a high degree of auditability and can automate many aspects of governance. However, they also face challenges such as voter apathy and the potential for whales to exert undue influence. Off-chain governance relies on human interaction. Town halls, forums, and social media platforms become spaces for community members to discuss proposals and build consensus. While these processes can foster a strong sense of community ownership, they can also be time-consuming and may lead to the concentration of power among the most active participants. To strike a balance, many token economies employ a hybrid approach, blending on-chain and off-chain mechanisms. Reputation systems, for example, can bridge the gap by recognizing and rewarding contributions beyond mere token holdings. The optimal governance framework depends on the specific context and goals of the token economy. Imagine a bustling marketplace, where the more people gather, the more vibrant and valuable it becomes. This is the essence of network effects, a flywheel that strengthens token economies. As more participants join, its utility and value often increase exponentially, attracting even more users. However, creating this momentum can be challenging. This is the cold start problem, where the lack of a critical mass of users can hinder a network's ability to generate value. It's like trying to push a car uphill. You need enough people to reach the crest before gravity takes over. Many token economies operate as multi-sided markets, where the value proposition for one group depends on the participation of another. Consider a decentralized exchange, where traders rely on liquidity providers who in turn rely on traders. This interdependence requires a delicate balancing act. To overcome the cold start problem, we can draw inspiration from various strategies. One approach is to cultivate atomic networks, small self-sustaining units within the larger network. These micro-ecosystems can generate value independently, eventually merging into a thriving whole. Think of Hiya, the Chinese appliance giant which transformed itself into a network of micro-enterprises. Another strategy is to focus on the hard side of the market, the group that is more difficult to acquire. By providing compelling incentives, we can create a strong foundation for growth. Compatibility and adherence to standards can also amplify network effects, allowing interoperable tokens to accelerate adoption. We can also design growth loops that incentivize user engagement. Referral programs, gamification, and community building initiatives can create a sense of belonging and encourage users to spread the word. While solving the cold start problem is crucial, it's important to be mindful of another network phenomenon: the unequal distribution of power and resources. This is the realm of power laws, where a small number of participants tend to accumulate a disproportionate share of influence or wealth. Imagine a network where a few central hubs attract the majority of connections, while the rest remain on the periphery. This tendency towards concentration can manifest in various ways within a token economy. We might see wealth concentrated among a few large token holders, or a handful of delegates dominating decision-making. These dynamics often stem from rich-get-richer processes, where those who already have an advantage tend to accumulate even more. Preferential attachment, for instance, is like a popularity contest, where new connections gravitate towards those who are already well-connected. Cumulative advantage is like a snowball effect, where initial success breeds further success. These mechanisms can lead to inequalities and hinder newcomers. Network effects can further amplify these dynamics. As the value of a token increases with adoption, it can create a gravitational pull towards the dominant players, further consolidating their power and potentially stifling innovation. Even with careful incentive design, we see this phenomenon with stake pools in the Cardano network, for example. To counteract this, we can incorporate mechanisms that promote wider participation and distribute resources more evenly. For example, we can design governance systems systems that give greater voice to smaller stakeholders or implement mechanisms that discount the power of inactive holders. We can also encourage the development of complementary networks that cater to niche communities, preventing excessive centralization. In the intricate flow of tokens, bargaining power is a key aspect of power laws. The social fabric of the network shapes the dynamics of influence and negotiation. Individuals or groups who occupy strategic positions, those who bridge communities or control critical resources, wield disproportionate influence. Imagine a decentralized autonomous organization where decisions are made through voting. A well-connected member who can bridge different perspectives might hold more sway than someone with a similar token stake but fewer social ties. Their influence stems not just from their holdings but from their ability to navigate the social landscape. Similarly, platforms that act as intermediaries can leverage their central position to extract value or influence prices. Their power lies in their ability to control the flow of information and resources. When designing a token economy, you need to analyze the interplay between network structure, social capital, and bargaining power. Unstable network configurations where power is concentrated can undermine decentralization. To mitigate this, design mechanisms that promote wider participation and distribute influence more evenly. Tools like the NetworkX Python library, integrated with a simulation tool like CAD/CAD, can help visualize and analyze these network dynamics. By observing how node sizes and connections evolve, you can gain insights into power distribution and identify potential vulnerabilities, allowing you to revise your design to mitigate disproportionate bargaining power. As we've touched on, crafting a successful token economy is like conducting an orchestra, where the instruments of technology, economics, social dynamics, and ethics must harmonize to create a sustainable symphony of value. These digital ecosystems, thriving at the intersection of code and community, demand a conductor's holistic perspective to ensure their long-term viability and positive impact. But the symphony doesn't end there. As you design and build token economies, remember that your creations aren't just lines of code. They have the potential to shape behaviors and impact lives. You are a social architect, and your creations should strive to empower individuals and contribute to a better society. Consider the cautionary tale of social media platforms. While connecting billions and facilitating information sharing, they have also fueled mental health issues like anxiety. This highlights what can happen when user well-being is not prioritized and incentives are misaligned, favoring profit over societal good. As a token engineer, you have the opportunity to learn from these mistakes and build systems that prioritize human flourishing. Strive for transparency, allowing public verifiability of transactions and processes while also safeguarding sensitive information. For example, the Midnight Network enables private transactions and selective disclosure of information, allowing users to control their data. Be mindful of unintended biases that can creep into your design, perpetuating societal inequalities. Actively seek out diverse perspectives and test your assumptions to ensure your creation promotes fairness and inclusivity. Token economies don't exist in a legal vacuum. They operate within a complex regulatory landscape where governments are grappling with how to oversee these novel digital assets. Navigating this terrain requires you to be proactive, balancing innovation with compliance. One legal hurdle is whether your token constitutes a security. In the US, the Howey test is a key benchmark. If your token represents an investment with the expectation of profits primarily from the efforts of others, it likely falls under security regulations, triggering requirements like registration and disclosure. But the legal landscape extends beyond securities laws. You must also consider investor protection, anti-money laundering regulations, taxation, and intellectual property rights. Transparency is crucial. Clearly disclose your tokenomics, implement robust KYC AML procedures if needed, and respect intellectual property rights. These measures not only ensure legal compliance but also build trust. Learn from the past. The SEC's actions against projects like Telegram and Kick Interactive's ICO highlight the consequences of non-compliance. Conversely, the success of compliant projects like Coinbase and Filecoin demonstrates that innovation and regulation can coexist. Navigating these complexities can be daunting. Seek expert legal counsel to ensure your project is structured compliantly from the outset. Token engineering is multidisciplinary, and legal expertise can be essential for success. The economic design of your token token economy is its engine, driving participant behavior and network growth. Think of it as a blueprint for your economic system where you calibrate token supply, distribution, and incentives to achieve your desired outcomes. Consider your initial token distribution. How will you allocate tokens fairly and avoid concentration of power? Will you opt for a fixed supply, allowing scarcity to drive value, or embrace an inflationary model to encourage circulation? Perhaps a deflationary approach aligns better with your goals. Token vesting schedules can be a powerful tool. By gradually releasing tokens to founders, team members, and investors, you incentivize long-term commitment and discourage short-term speculation, promoting stability and preventing economic collapses. Game theory and mechanism design are your allies in understanding participant behavior. By applying these analytical tools, you can craft systems that align individual incentives with the collective good. Don't be afraid to embrace innovation. Dynamic mechanisms such as bonding curves offer a novel approach to token issuance and market making. These mechanisms can facilitate price discovery, provide liquidity, and foster long-term engagement. Economic design is an ongoing process. Continuously monitor key metrics, analyze user behavior, and adapt your mechanisms to ensure long-term health and sustainability. Modeling and simulation help validate your design. By creating a digital twin of your network, you can gain valuable insights into the potential impact of your design choices. Test different token distribution models, explore various incentive structures, and simulate the impact of governance actions. With these tools, you can refine your economic design and steer your token economy towards a prosperous future. They also provide useful evidence of your intent for regulators, helping you navigate the legal and ethical landscape. We've toured the landscape of token engineering design, exploring the interplay of economics, technology, social dynamics, ethics, and law. Designing and governing token economies is a complex endeavor, demanding a holistic perspective and responsible innovation. By embracing an engineering mindset, leveraging insights from various disciplines, and prioritizing user needs and ethical considerations, we can build tokenized systems that are functional, sustainable, equitable, and impactful. We can create digital economies that empower individuals and foster collaboration. But the journey doesn't end there. Token engineering is evolving. In our next tutorial, we'll delve deeper into incentivizing collective behavior, exploring capital formation techniques like initial stake pool offerings, quadratic funding, and augmented bonding curves. The path of token engineering is one of continuous learning and collaboration. Embrace the challenge, and let's shape a future where tokenized applications unlock new possibilities.